Welcome to Superbat Chess Classic Romania 2025. The rest day was yesterday. Today we are playing round number 6, but I want to show you a game played in round number 3 between Pragg and Pragg. I think it's a great game to analyze. Let's go. So c4 was played by Pragg. Once again, those champs play whatever they want, whatever they feel. It's just dependent on their mood and their prep. G6, d4, knight f6, and we're basically transposing to king's Indian defense. Knight c3, d5, Grunfeld defense. So the main line is, not the main line, but what is usually played is something like takes, oh my goodness, takes, bishop g7, knight f3, c5. Even I remember something. I've never played it, but I saw this position a lot of times. So d5, knight f3, bishop g7, bishop goes to g5. Knight f4, quite common maneuver. Now, if knight goes to d5, very simple, knight g5, and a6. And it turns out it was a huge trap, because now this knight is under attack, and also this knight is under attack. So, white are not able to save both knights. It would be a win for Pragg. So, bishop goes to f4, now castle, e3, c5, c takes d5, knight c3 takes, queen d5, and we're basically transposed kind of main lines of Grunfeld defense. Bishop e2, c takes d4, c takes d4, and now knight goes to c6. White have, let's say, open semi-files, b1 and c1, and generally this might be potentially be worse than it be good, because white eventually will go queen d2, go castle, rook c1, rook b1, and try to attack the queen side. Castle, bishop f5, h4. h4 is interesting, because now white want to go h5, h6, but at the same time h4 kind of weakens this g4 square. Let's say knight goes to g4 at some point, potentially. Let's say, yeah, it would take a while, knight b8, knight d7, knight f6, knight g4, but yeah, it's of course never an idea. Rook c8, go h5, rook d8, h6, bishop f6, and now queen goes to a4, finally getting the queen out of the way, bringing the rook to c1 or d1 potentially. Queen a5, and now we see a queen trade, and most of the time this would mean that players would soon agree to a draw or eventually make a draw, especially in this case. But this pawn was pushed in such an important time, because let's say h4, h5 was played afterwards, then g takes h5, there are no more queens on the board, there is nothing to attack, this would be just up a pawn. But the pawn is on h6, it blocks the way out from this king, which potentially want to go, let's say, king g7, but now there are some slight troubles which Pragg was using perfectly. So rook goes to c1, knight goes to c6, and now a3 blocking the way for this knight to go, and potentially taking some, making some trades. e6, bishop potentially goes to e7, now knight goes to g5, and now e5 counterattacking in the center, and this position is so equal that I can't even imagine. Let's say I look at it the first time and I know who is playing, I'm like, I would bet on a draw maybe 100 out of 100 times, maybe okay, 90 out of 100. There is a high chance this endgame will end in a draw, but once again this pawn on h6 is still there and still blocks the way out for the king. Bishop e7, e4, bishop g5, now bishop goes to e4, bishop f6, and yes, Pragg are up a pawn, but no, they're not winning, and yes, they're actually worse. Knight goes to c6, rook goes to g7, knight b8, rook goes to e7, attacking the bishop, bishop d5, bishop g7, and now fully blocking the king. Rook d8, bishop b5, a6, bishop a4, b5, bishop d1, knight c6. Rook c7, bishop e6, rook c6, and we're transposing to an opposite colored bishop endgame. If we remove the rooks of the board, this is a draw, but still Pragg has this rook, so it is not a draw, at least yet. Rook a7, bishop d5, f3. Rook e8, trying to trade, rook d7. This pawn can never be taken because there is a backrank checkmate all the time. Bishop c4, rook b7, rook e8, king g3, rook e8, king f2. Once again, pawn cannot be taken, rook e8, bishop e5. And now, once again, this bishop cannot be taken due to rook b8 checkmate. Rook c8, bishop g7, rook e8, g4. And finally, Pragg starts pushing the pawns. He tries to make it more advanced on the king side. King g3, f4, rook e8, king h4, rook c8, king g5. And he pushed the king all the way to g5. Bishop d3, bishop e5, rook e8, bishop d6, bishop c4, and f5. Rook c8, bishop e5, rook e8, rook d7, once again using the back rank weakness, because rook d8 is coming, rook c8, bishop f6, takes, king f8, rook b7, rook e8, bishop e7, bishop b4. Now rook goes to e6, but it's too late, because after rook b8, king d7, rook h8, this pawn is falling, rook g7, h7, h8, pawn promotes, and white would win this chess game. Absolutely insane technique by Pragg. I mean, great endgame. I mean, unbelievable win. And I'll show you the table after 5 rounds of play. Once again, they're playing round number 6 today as you're watching this video probably. Fabi plays praggnanandhaa, Maxim plays Niederbeck, and Duda plays Pragg. Alireza faces Gukesh. You know, I have good flashbacks from the candidates 2024 in Toronto, because those guys had some fun games. And Wesley plays Levon Ronin. And once again, Fabi first, Maxim, Pragg, all at 3 points, then 4 people at 2.5. And you don't see Gukesh here. And I discussed it in the end of the last video that he's not performing well, he's not having a good tournament so far. And he is last as of right now. He's tied for the 8th place with Duda and Niederbeck, 2 youngsters on the bottom of the table. That's insane. But that's it from me for today. Hope you enjoyed. I'll see you tomorrow in the recap of round number 6, if there will be any decisive results. Otherwise, I'll show you maybe some of the games played in the earlier rounds and decisive games, or I'll select some of the most fighting games which finished in round number 6. Hope you enjoyed once again. See you soon. Bye bye.